sold this. No emotions, right? Buying and selling property, you have no emotion. So when I sold it, I make my first pot of gold, and then that's all. That's the good thing is that I just duplicate whatever I do. Yeah. The good thing about property investment that it can be duplicated. Right? Even if it's successful in one strategy, you can always use the same strategy over and over again. I told you this cash out strategy up to today is still relevant. You can still use it. If you buy a good property, the valuation go up, there's a difference. Go to the banker, get a cash out, invest in another property.
Yep.
But that is why, ladies and gentlemen, especially those tuning in that are young, I would really strongly advise that you need to have cash. Cash is king, right? You need to save. When the opportunities come, grab it.
Welcome to our next episode of the Modern Wealth Podcast, where we aim to empower, enrich, evolve your lives. Today we have a very, very, very special guest. And I'm super excited because this is our very first guest who is a public listed company CEO, right? He's a good friend of mine. I've known him for...
Wow, maybe like what? Since 2014?
2014, yeah man, 2014. Wow, that's
11 years ago.
already. 11 years, right? So he's none other than Jason Ng of Teco, right? It's a public listed company, right, in Singapore. And today we're going to be finding out a lot more about what he does, what his company does, how he invests, and what his outlook is for the markets as well. It's going to be a very, very exciting, episode today. There's so much to actually learn. This man right here owns over how much in assets currently right now?
Assets under management about 72 million.
$72 million, of real estate, across Singapore, shop houses, coffee shops, commercial properties, offices, right? There's so much of experience, in his extensive, work and his investing, right? So I believe there's going to be so much that I will be learning, and for sure that you will be learning from this episode as well. So let's get right to it. Let's go. Jason, thank you so much for coming, man.
Hey, thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Yes.
Nice office you have.
Thank you.
Well set up and all.
Yes,
Great
absolutely.
job.
Yeah, bro. This was one of my investments just last year, right? So I was thinking to myself, like, hey, should I rent? Then I was thinking, why not, get another asset, right? Buy another asset. So we actually purchased this office in Ubi. Ubi Tech Park. What do you think about Ubi Tech Park? Okay.
Yeah, it's a good place. I used to have quite a lot of working partners here, so that's why I was coming here just now. I said, I think Resh found a good place.
Yep.
And good choice. I always believe even our Singapore government that every citizen should have their own house.
Yep.
That's why 80% of people have HDB or condominiums and all. And our government is also advocating that every businessman must at least have your office. Yeah, So I think it's a good choice because you are paying the bank installment. I'm sure.
Yep.
So rather than you pay the landlord to help him to pay his installment, it's good that you have some cash flow. That's why you can at least pay 20% for this place.
Yep. And
the rest you just get a bank loan,
Yep.
leverage on the bank. And you can use this, pay the installment, and you are totally liberated. You can do anything you want. You can have your training here. You set up our office here.
Yep.
Anytime you want to use your office, you can use it,
Absolutely.
and then you can even rent it out to others and make an income and all. So I think great choice.
Thank you.
Yeah, and this property, the location is good.
Yep.
Yeah, Ubi area is a good area. I have one at Oxley Business Hub.
Not too far away. Yes.
And there I have another one, the enterprise one at Kaki Bukit also. But
Okay.
that is a food factory.
Okay.
A different asset class, which later we can discuss more.
Yeah. I do have a food factory as well.
Where's your food factory?
Woodlands.
Oh, Woodlands, yeah.
Woodlands
I
food
have two at the factory at Woodland Exchange factory, and one at this enterprise Woodlands industrial area.
Fantastic. Let's talk about that very soon. But bro, okay, so we're hearing about all these different properties you own, which is great. But let's go back to the very beginning, right? So how did this journey get started for you, right? Today we see you as the public CEO and everything, but what was the beginnings like? What was your background?
Wow.
Do you come from a very rich family?
That goes back to way back to 1993 when I was working in IBM.
When I was born.
You were born in 93? Oh my God. So uncle is 60 years old. So I'm not, like you say, I'm not born rich.
Okay.
I'm not born rich. My father is only an ordinary bank clerk working in OCBC. And he's always sick. He's asthmatic, right? So like I always share with my friends, every week or 4 or 5 days, his colleagues will bring him home, put him on the floor because he has an asthma attack. And my mom will be very worried, right? Because I have 3 sisters, myself. So my father has 4 children. I live with my grandmother, my maternal grandmother, which is my father's mother. And the 7 of us, we live in a 1-room flat, rented in Old Airport Road, Dakota Crescent. So I know what is it like to be, to be poor, right? So I told myself I need to get out of this poverty cycle. Nobody taught me, and in those days there were no like property training or anything like that. I just read a book written by Ng Teng Fong, the Far East, the founder and all. And he said, look at the globe, right? Look at the world. Find places that is small, land size is small, densely populated, and a lot of Chinese. So
specifically must be a lot of Chinese.
Yeah. So what are we looking at? Of course, I'm looking at Hong Kong.
Okay.
In those days, Hong Kong, and then of course Singapore. Right. We are predominantly highly densely populated, small little red dot. So I told myself, okay, I need to use property. And in the late 80s and early 90s, Singaporeans start to invest in property. It's no more a game for the rich. Average, above average income Singaporean invest in property. So I bought my first property, Rash, in 1993, when I was only 28 years old. I mean, it helps that I have a good income working at IBM. So I don't spend money to buy expensive cars or buy country club or drink. I save my money. And I remember I bought my first property. It was still with me at Gilstead Road, just beside Inland Revenue, so Newton. It was like only for 435,000. You can't even get a BTO today.
Exactly.
At this location. So it's like 1,400 over square feet. So like I say, when people start buying property, the price of this property went up in a few years. Now, so what I did, a strategy, which is still very applicable today, is called the cash out strategy. Now, I went to a banker in Tatley Bank. Maybe some of you don't know what's Tatley Bank, right? It's bought over by OUB and then UOB. And the banker, which is my friend, right, helped me to take out another 300,000. This is called cash out. Right? In Chinese, it's called Tao Xian. So with this 300,000, I bought another property.
Nice.
Right. This time is at Sultan Gate, which is at near the Beach Road there.
Yep.
And when the price went up, went up by close to 800,000 again, I cash out, and that's where I had my first pot of gold.
That's
And
your
then
first
from there-
million.
Won't say million, half a million.
Half a million, yeah.
Of course, my old man, my dad,
Uh,
scolded me lah. So people in the audience, you got to be. But this is a good loan. I told my dad, I said, this is a good loan. He said, what if you lose your job, right? I said, I won't lose my job, right? IBM can't sack me. I'm good. I will sack IBM instead, So of course, you have to pay more interest. But having said that, this is not like credit cards, where you incur interest, but this is a good loan. So there are good loans, there are bad loans. This is considered a good loan. So I use property, then give me a rental income, and when the price went up again, I sold this. No emotions, right? Buying and selling property have no emotion. Yeah. So when I sold it, I make my first pot of gold, and then that's all. That's the good thing is that I just duplicate whatever I do. Yeah. The good thing about property investment that it can be duplicated, right? Even if it's successful in one strategy, you can always use the same strategy over and over again. Like I told you, this cash out strategy up to today is still relevant. You can still use it. If you buy a good property, the valuation go up, there's a difference. Go to the banker, get a cash out, invest in the other property.
Yep.
But that is why, ladies and gentlemen, especially those tuning in that are young, I would really strongly advise that you need to have cash. Cash is king. right? You need to save. You need to, when the opportunities come, grab it. Yeah, that's my
Fantastic. So you
yeah.
started young, and
I
that's
started very
basically
young.
you
I was
started young.
only 28 years old.
Okay, great,
Yeah.
fantastic.
And also, I like to advise, you see, Rash, I see the millennials, the young. No judgment on that, but many of them, like over the weekends, Thursday, Friday, they'll be at the pubs drinking.
Sure.
And all. Agree?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I, my occupational hazard, right? If I will be there, I will talk to them.
Yeah.
And they will tell me that one night they spend about $300 to $400.
Yep.
So 1 month, you're talking about 1,005,
Yep.
1,002, 1,005.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this money,
Yep.
you can buy a industrial property, B1, that maybe 700,000 to 800,000, and your installments can be like 2,000 plus, and you can cover up to maybe 70-80% of this property, your bank installment. Agree?
Yeah, for sure.
But then you say, but Jason, is not enough. I want to share with you. When I bought my property at 28 years old, Emmeline, my wife, who's at that time my girlfriend, we save. We force ourselves to save in order to have money for installment.
Sure.
Right? Of course, I can use my CPF. So we cut down on expensive restaurants.
Yep.
I mean, in those days, there's no expensive restaurant. Like
Sure.
in 1993, it's only, I think the most expensive I know is Sushi Tei.
Yep.
So we eat in a hawker center. I go to her mom's house to have dinner.
Yep.
They come to my house. So in a way, there is a forced saving.
Yep.
And that's my advice
Yep.
that for millennials and young. You have to take an action, then you force yourself to save, and you realize that, wow, your lifestyle, you become more prudent, and when you amass your money, right, in 1-2 years, you find that you have an opportunity, you go in straight away.
Can I ask you a question? Okay,
Yeah.
so I love the advice. It's very practical.
Yes.
It's true,
Mm.
right? But for those of them who are going to dispute you and say, Jason, your time, my time, very different. Your time, your noodle 80 cents. Today, my noodle 450.
Correct.
I buy chicken rice $5,
Correct.
right? Yeah,
Correct.
sure, I eat hawker center,
Yes.
but I'm paying so much more money. Right?
Yes.
It's a different time altogether. Last time, maybe a property, 100,000 can buy. Today, I want to buy property. I want to buy one private property, one bedroom condo,
Correct.
$1.2 million.
Correct.
Right? We are living in a different
Correct.
era and time.
Yeah.
Sure, I want to save, for example, right?
Mm.
But I earn $4,000.
Mm.
How much do you expect me to save? Right? I
Mm.
got my expenses to pay, my parents give money to. I can save maybe 1,000, a couple of $100 a month, for example, right?
Very good.
So if that's the objection, right? So how do I really get started? Like, what should I be focusing on first? Like, how? Like, so what will you tell them then?
So I want to share this. My daughter is 28,
Sure.
right? My son is 22.
Yep.
Their knowledge of wealth creation using properties is miles ahead of their peers.
Yep.
I mean, natural, right?
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
the
for sure.
father, I model for them, I teach them what to do.
Yep.
But I want to say this, okay. Yes, you can say, Rash, Jason, in 93, you buy anything, you close one night, you throw a stone, any
You
property,
make money,
you make
yeah.
money at that
Sure,
time, right?
sure,
That's
yeah.
why I bought like 400.
You don't have ABSD and whatever
Yeah,
else.
no ABSD, no. But Rash, you can't change the past.
Of course.
You can't change the past,
Yep.
right? So you can either don't do anything, continue to justify
Yep. Yep.
why I can't do this, one, that, right? You justify.
Yes.
You can lay blame. I mean, we blame the government, we blame this, we blame the society, I'm not given a chance, blah, blah, blah. And then you can complain. You keep on complaining, be a keyboard warrior, faceless, and only not complain. And then you finally quit. I would think that it will be very sad if you quit.
Yep.
Now, then what you need to do, right, is you need to move out of your comfort zone,
Yep.
and you got to go out there,
Yep.
and you got to first. I always believe in training. Now, even without training in those days, I get myself mentors.
Yeah.
I humble myself. I be very coachable. I get to know tauges. You know tauges
Of course.
at that are they own many shops in Sim Lim Square. You don't look at this tauke, they wear bermudas. You may think that they sell tissues, but they own a lot of shop houses there. So I humbled myself.
Yep.
I go there over the weekends, right? Now, so I don't play golf and all this over the weekend. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
And I sit there, wait on them, you know, they ask me, hey, go and help us buy drink. Of course they pay, they don't bully me in this thing. And then I just learn. And I realized that these successful people, they know strategies that we don't know. So I humble myself and learn. So I told you that the Tattly Banker, it was initiated by one of the uncle. Because he was touched, he likes my attitude, that I'm coachable. So one call from him, right, to this Tattly Banker, which coincidentally is my friend, I get huge access to favors, and that's why I can get my loan easier, right? So number one, you need to get yourself a mentor, right, that you can learn, right? Because you can continue to justify, lay blame, and whine and say that you can't buy any property, you know, Lor Mee cost only 20 cents last time, and all, you know. So you can continue to whine and get yourself bitter, complain that the Chinese nationals, the Indian nationals, the Hong Kongers, the Malaysians are buying our properties. You can't do anything. So number one, please go learn, right? Get yourself a mentor, attend training, all this thing, which is very, very relevant, right? Now, number two is that you need to increase your network, right? Sure. If you are who you mix with, very, very seriously, Rashvin. You mix with people who are always bitter and they complain and they justify and they quit, then you behave like that. Agree?
Yes.
Yeah. You're who you mix with. Okay? You cannot soar like an eagle if you are hanging around with turkeys.
Yes.
So what I do I always encourage the what? Now you say that you buy a property in those days, 100,000-200,000. So you don't buy yourself. So I have people in my community, 27 years old, 7 properties.
Wow.
I'm not talking about residential. Then Jason, how they buy, 7 properties. No, they have one resi, a condominium, rented out. The others are commercial properties.
I see.
The what you call industrial and commercial. And I'm talking about like 500 over 1,000, 600 over 1,000, 700 over 1,000. That can give you a yield of like 6-7% a year. Why not? Your bank rates is only about max. I give you bank rate 3%, 3.2%.
That's true.
You make a 7%, right? And then so then the strategy is, that's why the rich get richer. The strategy is that you don't buy yourself, you group invest. In my community, I teach my the millennials, the 30 plus and all. Yeah, I know you can't buy yourself. Agree? Because to buy a 800,000, you need 20%.
Yeah, exactly.
So 160,000 with stamp duty 52,000. You need about 200,000. So you can't afford.
Yes.
You can't afford, right? So you can say, oh, I can't afford. I don't do anything about it. But what you can do is that network, pair up with other people that have 50,000, 4%, 5. You have 200 over 1,000. 5 of you form a company, a special project vehicle, or what we call investment holding company. Of course, you must have good income. I mean, a strong, stable income.
I see.
And of course of that, please pay your credit card debts. Not on time. Pay early.
Okay.
Because you need to have a good credit record. So you see, out there, if you have been buying things that you don't need with money you don't have, to impress people you don't like, credit cards,
of course.
You're not going to get bank loans anywhere.
No way.
So what I'm trying to share, number one, get yourself a mentor. Number two, network. And number three, that you need to what? You need to invest in yourself, your time and resources, right? To upgrade yourself and have a very strong wealth making skill.
I see.
What are wealth making skills? Rashvin, you teach people how to invest, stock shares, options, crypto. That's very powerful wealth making skill. Some people are into e-commerce. They sell in Shopee, Lazada, all this thing. Some people are into running business. That's good. You got a very strong wealth making. I have a very strong wealth making skill. I know how to invest in property. I know how to do co-living, co-working, invest in Shophouse, freehold Shophouse. All that. I have a very important skill. So I always advise people. Now, of course, you say, so spend less time on your Netflix. Spend less time scrolling your TikTok. I mean, it's TikTok life now. So go invest yourself. Head up. A lot of people invest head down. Head down means you buy all the expensive bags, clothes. Nothing wrong with that, right? But you need to invest up. So what I'm trying to say, you can't change your past. You can continue to whine that, oh, my father didn't leave me property. My father didn't leave me anything, ladies and gentlemen. When my father left me, I don't have anything.
Yeah.
But I told myself, I need to get out of this poverty cycle. But of course, sad to say today, I think Singaporean, we are very comfortable, right? We are very comfortable. So some of us lost that hunting, that drive, and we're just very comfortable. I mean, it really saddened me when I tune into radio, and I purposely tune into the youngest radio station, like 933 Chinese station, because I want to understand the pulse of the young.
Yes.
It's very sad when the DJ is always saying, "Oh, today is Friday, mini weekend," and you mean in life is just about
Living for the
forward to
weekend.
That's very scary. To me, that's very scary.
I see.
Right? I mean, for us, Rashmi, you and
By
I.
the way, guys, I just want to share something. Whatever Jason is saying is really the truth, right?
Yeah.
Over the last 10 years, 11 years, this guy has invested too much money on courses, attending different places. Not too much money, right? Like, for real, right? He's always at different trainings. I've seen him at multiple courses, which we attend together as well. He's always learning, constantly networking, building up his network and everything.
Yes.
And all of this, compounds, right?
Yes.
It's the compounding effect of
Correct.
building your network,
Yeah.
attending these programs, building your high value skill sets, and everything compounds, right?
Yes.
Like compounds.
Yes.
Today, you having the opportunity to buy over a listed company,
Yes.
you having the opportunity to be a chairman of the company, and that opening new doors as well.
Excellent.
Right, with even bigger network. Now you
Correct.
can maybe go on to buy hotels. Maybe you're gonna be the next Hotel 81. I don't know.
I already have, but it's only 18 rooms. It's a small one. We start small.
Hey, you never know,
but
right?
it's true. So it's really, I like what you say. We get ourselves mentor, we get some network, and because of that, your opportunities just come to you. So, ladies and gentlemen, don't complain. Don't complain that, of course, Uncle Jason, you bought this property like 30 years ago. At that time, you can't change the past. So now you got to learn what you need to do. Right?
Can I ask you a question? From what I'm hearing, okay, is the bedrock of property investing, bedrock of property investing, as in first and foremost before property investing, if I'm hearing you right, are you also saying that it's very, very important first and foremost to make sure you have stable income?
Yes.
Whether it's through a higher paying job or through skill sets that can really give you a good proper base at least.
Correct.
That's the bedrock.
I mean, I don't believe I don't subscribe. I don't align to people who say you can buy property with zero or
no money.
Low money.
Yeah.
You can't, Rashmi, right? Even today, I get a celebrity to teach you how to do the best laksa. You still need to rent the place from NEA.
Yes.
You need to pay security deposit for the rental. You still need kitchen equipment. You still need suppliers, right? And you still need about 1-2 months before, even if you're very good, for people to start queuing for your stuff. So you need at least 2-3 months. And these 2-3 months, you still minimum you need about what, 30 to 40,000 to start a hawker store.
Yes, for sure.
And that's assuming you're doing it at a NEA hawker store.
Yep.
But if you are higher pay, you still got to pay higher rent.
Yep.
So there's no such thing as I can buy property with no money. But take one step back, so get yourself a proper income, right? Pay your taxes nicely. You will realize that if you pay your taxes properly, the banks has your NOA, your notice of assessment.
Yep.
Okay, the other one is your credit card.
Yep.
Banks are interesting. When you want to borrow money, they ask you, do you have a credit card? If you say no, they ask you go get a credit card.
Sure.
Why? Because they want you to spend.
Yep.
They want you to pay, not on time. If you can pay earlier, then you realize that your CBS, your credit bureau
Is clean.
service, you're clean, you are AA. Now, at a young age, you cannot afford to be GG or EE. You're in trouble. No banks will lend you money, right? That means you have your financial blueprint has short-circuited, right? Okay, your financial circuit has short-circuited. So my advice, I feel that is that get yourself a good income. But the income, like I say, I mean, let's be real. When I first started, my income was high because I'm working at IBM. But having said that, because but now, even if your income, say, about below 100,000 a year, if one person you cannot, then you find a few friends that everyone has about 100,000. Then you combine, 4 or 5 of you combine. The bank will look at your earning potential, and you have the best weapon. When you ask this question, not just your salary or good income, your age. Do you know that when you're young, like you're 20 plus or you're 30 plus, your most powerful weapon you have,
Is your age,
your tool, is your age.
Yes.
So use that to your maximum. Leverage your age to borrow from the bank.
I see.
So to me, with a good income, don't have to be hugely high end. Good credit worthiness, you spend prudently, you pay your debts, whatever, right? And with that, with your age, I tell you, you can get a loan. You can get a loan, leverage with the banks to get a loan. So that 20% up front, you can either do it yourself, if you have enough savings, congratulations, well done. If you're not enough, find a few friends. And that is where your network is important. That is where, if you go for training or not, you come into a network.
You find like
trainers like yourself, Rashvin, myself, we are the leader, we are the lauta, we are the big brother.
Yes.
We will guide you. But you have to be coachable.
I see.
Right? You are not coachable, sorry.
Can I ask you a question? Okay, let's talk to people who are young.
Yeah.
Who are just starting out, right?
Yeah.
I've saved up a bit of money, right? I've saved up a bit of money. Let's say, for example, I've got to my first 200,000, for example, that I've
you got 200,000, congratulations.
Right, that
you are ready to go.
Great. Ready to go, but go where? Should I first, let's say I'm clean slate, don't have anything. Should I be first going for, let's aim for my first, like, should the residential block be ticked off, or should I go for an industrial, commercial? What do you feel should be the first piece in the chess game?
Yeah. Actually, it also depends on which stage of life you are, right?
Young fella, below 30 lah.
Yeah, if you are getting married, right, and then you have your fiance, and then first thing, you will always apply for BTO.
Sure.
Right? So that will give you your first roof over the head. And I subscribe to that. Right?
BTO, or if I have the money, just go for private straight?
There's really two schools of thoughts.
Yeah. What's your thought?
Rashvin, property investment, they are the Shaolin school. There's the Wutang, these are all the Chinese ones.
Sure.
So some people say buy residential, right? And then buy new launches, sit there and wait. After TOP, cash out, make 200,000-300,000. But that one, you need to have some deep pocket. Because your money going there, you don't get a rental income. Okay? So you need to have some deep pockets, right? Sure. Some will say buy resale, right? And then you rent out, you get an income immediately. Some, like myself, so I subscribe to, get your first property. But having said that, in our community, I will teach and share with my people the strategy how you buy a BTO.
Okay.
You buy as a couple, then both your names are in the property. You have no leeways to do anything. So what you need to do is one of you do it. The other one stand by. Another property, whether commercial or residential, you move in. Now this is what we call, Then if you are now owning properties, and I'm speaking to the, say 30 plus, with preschoolers, toddlers now, or for early 40s and all. Some will sell away their HDB, so we call it sell one, buy two. Right? Then you release your name, and you can buy two properties, one for investment, one for self-stay. But to be very real, Rashvin, you and I, we are married. I think we want to provide security for our wife. Right? The basic needs of food, shelter, all this must be there. My wife told me, you can go and play whatever game you have, you buy freehold Shophouse, blah, blah, blah. End of the day, I need to have a roof over my head. Please don't go and tell me, say that, invest in all this property, then we go and rent the place just to stay. I don't want to move house every 3-5 years.
I see.
Because I'm helped, not say ransom, but I'm helped by the landlord, right? If the landlord want to increase rental, we don't want to pay, I got to move. So our wives need a roof over our head. Right? So I'm speaking to couples out there. My thing, of course, get your plan of property. Now, whether you buy BTO or you buy residential. Now, let me share with you, let's say BTO. Yesterday night, I met a couple. Wow, Jason, my BTO is going to wait until 2029. I said, how come so long? See, there are some BTO still taking a long time, although the government has ramped up and all. So you're going to wait, let's say, 4 years for your BTO. Then after you buy a BTO, you have 5 years of what we call the MOP, minimum occupation period.
Yep.
That is if you are normal area. But what if you buy area like now, Bayshore, Kallang or whatever, some of them, or they call it the BTO plus, you have to have 10 years. These 10 years you can't sell.
I see.
You can't sell. And even if you sell, the profit you make, you have to return to the government some of the profits that you have. So the whole cycle, okay, that's just 5 years. 5 plus 3, 8 years. 8 years. So you buy a BTO or HDB, you wait for 8 years before you can realize your profits.
Yes.
Okay, agree?
Easy,
Yeah. You buy a private property. Now I'm talking about property. Let's say a new launch or whatever. If you are young, you got a good income, and you know how to do it. Now I can't say this on a public platform, right? Because okay.
Sure.
So you know how to buy. So in 3 years, TOP, you exceed, you can make, say, 300,000.
Sure.
Say 300,000 to be conservative. Those people who bought Sterling residences, Park Esta, make money right before COVID, right? They make.
Sure.
And if you buy a bigger property like a 2-bedder or 3-bedder, I don't talk about single one bedder lah. You should make about 300,000. Now you do this cycle in these 8 years, 9 years. You do it 3 times. You do it 3 times. What do you have?
$1 million lah, possibly.
So there's 2 different schools of thought. Some people say BTO must buy because that's our birthright as a Singaporean. So you don't buy, it's silly. Okay. So I really don't have a definitive answer. But for myself, Faith, right? Yeah, she's of the age that she really can invest in private property. Caleb also, he's 22. Right? So she didn't buy a BTO or whatever. Now, of course, she's still single, working in Seoul, working in Korea. Like Caleb is still in school. What I'm trying to say is, so there's different school of thought. So my advice is that don't just listen to one area. Go out, network, associate with people who have been there, done that. They will share with you strategies. And then you decide for yourself, or if you are getting married, you have a fiance or your wife, then you all discuss as a couple. But seek mentorship. Ask people who knows the game, and they will give you good advice.
I see.
Now,
can I? So I want to ask you this question.
Yes.
And this is a very famous question of mine.
Yes.
A lot of people like to ask, what should I do? What should I do? What should I do?
Yeah.
But my question to you, from all your experience, is what should I avoid? What should I not do? Right? What are some? Like, if you can share with me some of your mistakes that you've actually made.
Yeah.
You know, there's this very famous quote which is, you know, if you don't want to die, you know, find out where the graveyard lies, right? Like, you know, essentially, if you find out where the graveyard lies, you can avoid those mistakes, right? So, what are some, like, you know, big pitfalls you should avoid? And maybe some of the places that you have made mistakes yourself.
Yeah. Like I say, if I were to tell you all my properties make money, that's a lie.
Sure.
Right? But having said that, my properties in Singapore, I have not made a single loss. Not at all. Not at all. Yeah, I make lesser, but I have not made a single loss. For example, I bought Trevare at Potong Pasir. I went to see Sterling, I went to see Park Esta. I went to Trevare, but with at Potong Pasir. But we fell in love with the product. Because the architect is, okay, never mind, no name mentioned, then they make the place very nice. So we fell in love with the product, okay? End up, when it's set up, when we sell, our profitability wasn't that high as compared to the what. So one rule of thumb I always say is that don't fall in love with the product. Fall in love with the numbers. Fall in love with the cash flow. In everything, whether is it my co-living. I mean, some places very nice, but the cash flow just cannot justify. There's no amenities and all, but the place is very nice, but we don't do that. Then, so what I always say, right, when you invest in property, one of the people, don't fall in love with the product. Right? So when you, even if you look at a new launch, now it scares me now that the OCR and all this are hitting something like 2,000 plus.
2,000 plus, yes.
That's to me, wow, is
that's base price already,
It's scary. Yeah, it's very scary. And some location like, it's scary, right? I won't mention names, right? Because I think out there people invest and all. For example, you look at Bayshore, right? Bayshore, which I live near Bayshore there. They have a government land sale, right? And for the private property, okay, because Bayshore, they're going to, that area, they call it the East Coast Plan, our minister. They are going to build 10,000 homes, 7,000 for public housing, which is BTO plus, 10 years MOP, and then 3,000 for private properties. If I'm not right, I'm not wrong, the developer, the winning bid is 1,300 plus. So if they buy at 1,300 plus, they are going to market it maybe 2005, 2006, or even 2007. Now, I'm in an area like Bayshore, right, with the long-term plan and all thing, and it's East Coast, right, District 15 or 16, near the sea, full length, right? Most probably they have full length windows and all. I think it's still palatable, but we have to do our homework, right? That's why I say to the ladies and gentlemen, you got to do your homework. Go to new launches and all with zero emotion.
Okay.
Zero emotion. Don't fall in love with the product.
Sure.
Right? Because they will have all the amenities, blah, blah, blah. Very nice. But at the end of the day, you ask yourself, is this something that the cash flow is good? And is there an upside to this?
Okay.
Right? Look at, now you see, when you go for, I do encourage the young couples.
Sure.
Please don't think that agents, property agent, when they invite you to an event, they're trying to sell you something. If I'm you, I open up my mind. I go there with the intention to learn.
I see.
I bring my son along. Why? Because there will be a tagger. They call it a TAGG.
Yes.
And this person know everything about that
the
project.
area and everything.
So if, for example, there's a project last year, Jaden, right, at Jurong East.
Yes.
You go for that briefing, you hear from the tagger everything about the master plan of Jurong East, blah, blah, blah. Now, that helps you to increase your knowledge.
Yes.
Now, you go to Clementi, they know about the development. You go to Pasir Ris, they tell you the development in Pasir Ris, Woodlands, what's happening and all. So, in order to avoid pitfalls, arm yourself with good knowledge. Invest your time. Over the weekend, now you may tell yourself, okay, I'm going to hold my emotions, right? Because sometimes we get caught in this emotion. But, and then if you, that is for residential properties.
Okay.
The other thing is that also consider other alternatives. Is residential the only way to invest? Now that's assuming you have a roof over your head already. So you say out there commercial, you have what? You have HDB shop houses. You know the shop houses that we walk to MRT station, we go to the wet market, food market, and all. There's HDB shop houses. Those are that we can invest in, right? Some comes with living quarters up there. Then you have commercial office, like I bought one at Woodlands, Wood Square, right? I buy it because of the RTS. Then you have B1, right? Commercial. Then you have B2, the dirty ones, right? Food factory, you have mechanic workshop, car workshop, carpentry, and all that stuff. Then, of course, the most expensive and the most valuable is the freehold conservation shop houses.
Sure.
That one, even you have 99 years versus freehold. You can do takeaway, you can do dine-in. No F&B, fully commercial, rent out to tuition center, fitness center, spa, blah, 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 all these things. So don't jump into one straight away. Look at all the various options you have. Measure against the cash flow that you have. If you don't have the cash flow, you feel that this is good, you can always group invest. Look for other people to come together. Get yourself a good mentor that will help you to structure your business, your deal.
Properly. I see. Thanks for sharing, man. Really appreciate. Guys, we're going to go into part 2 really soon. In part 2, we're going to dive a little bit deeper into what Jason's master plan is, right, for the next 5 years or so, right? So pretty exciting. Let's get right back for part 2. Guys, welcome back to part 2. In part 1, Jason went through some very important strategies and foundations that you need to really get started on a property journey, right? So in part 2, I really want to dig Jason's brains into thinking big lah. Right? Let's talk. For me, I'm a man of big dreams. I like to think bigger, right?
If your dream doesn't scare you, it's not a dream.
Exactly. The dreams don't scare you.
It's not a goal.
Yeah, it's not a goal, right?
It must be a goal that really scare you out.
It must be, right? And I see you as that kind of person, right? Taking the risk and everything. So, after many years, suddenly one day I see your Facebook, wow, the chairman of a listed company in Singapore. I say, wow, what happened to the Jason? One day, suddenly become a SGX listed company boss. So what happened? Why the decision, and what's the vision with that?
I was in. I'm still in the business. I'm also in children education. In those days, children education, you need a passion. You need a passion. I don't pretend money is not important, right? To me, children education, if you go after prosperity, you're just going after money, prosperity won't come. You need to have some heart and integrity when you are in children education. Of course, I admire those tuition chain, the big ones. They have many. Then there's after school care and all those things. Having said that, to me, it's very good. It's interesting. Having said that, I'm happy that. See, my mantra is always this. I make money in business. I make money in my work, my whatever. I use money to invest in property. You got to do that. I think Robert Kiyosaki, the author of this book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, said that. You make money, you must invest in property. And that's so true. That's so true. In way back in 1998, when Faith was only 1 year old, I bought a property in Shenzhen, 120,000 Sing, which is 670,000 RMB in those days. A Hong Kong friend taught me, they say, buy, because there are a lot of demand for rental flats, rental condos and all this in Shenzhen. A lot of reason, because, okay, not a very good thing lah, but Hong Kongers were having like their second wives, in Shenzhen. So those days nowadays no lah. Chinese girls, Chinese women are very independent now. They don't become people's girlfriend anymore. So he told me, you buy, easily you can rent out. So I bought, and it's only 120,000. But he asked me this: can you afford to lose this money? Will you die? Will you go and jump if you lose this 120,000? I said, of course not lah. Say okay, because at that in those days, 1998, the property laws in China are very loose, right? And they haven't even bidded for Olympic Games. So I bought, and today, the property at one point before COVID, it went up to 7 million, 10 times. Now dropped down to maybe 3-4 million, but I still make money now. So I put 120,000, Rash. Imagine in those days I put 120,000 to invest in the business in China. Wow. I think the 120,000 gone already. Gone already. Because I'm not there to manage the business, I got to depend on my partner and all, and that's it. But I buy a property, I just need my Hong Kong friend, and he has an agent to help us to rent out. And every month, he collects rental. Every 6 months, he pull my money together, my installment, he pay me one shot. And when I go to Shenzhen, I always go there, take a look. The whole place has changed, but they'll look at it, everything. So what I'm trying to say is that I feel that property is the best to me, the wealth creation tool. Okay. Now, of course, you are a crypto expert and all. Hey, hello, Jason. 1 month I can make 200% gains. Or that's good. That's why I have utmost respect for people who invest in crypto and all. But sometimes certain elements in life, I think, I'm good with property. I play stocks and shares. I nearly become bankrupt. I lost about 400 over thousand. But I don't have fundamentals. I do not know how to analyze. I don't look at annual report. I buy on rumors, right? I buy on rumors. I see uncle and auntie coming to Ong and Company. That time there's a broking house, and I still didn't run, right? And then I'm buying those red stock, Indonesian stock, such stuff. And when it crashed, I tell you, that's it, 400 over thousand. So of course I struck a deal with the stock broking house. I say I pay you by installment. I have good income. You make me bankrupt. In 5 years' time, I only pay 10% of the amount that I owe you. So I rather, this is my income, I can pay you. So certain elements in life. So I like property. But I want to share with you this. Let's say I tell you a story. Today I'm an agent,
Yep.
right? And I met you 30 years ago. 30 years ago. And I asked you, Rash, you got money? You say, okay. I want you to invest in a condominium. 500,000. Can you buy a condominium for 500,000 30 years ago? That's what I bought, right?
Yeah, of
435.
course. Yep.
Now, this condominium, after 30 years, how much would the condominium be worth now? For my Newton now, it's worth 3 million plus,
Easy,
4 million.
Three
Okay?
Three bidder?
3 million plus,
Yeah.
4 million,
Yeah.
3.6,
Okay.
4 million.
Yeah.
Right? That is if you buy a condominium, 500,000,
Yeah.
30 years ago. Okay?
Yeah.
Fine. Now, say I'm a specialist in landed property. And I met you 30 years ago. I say, Rash, buy landed property. Okay? Now, I don't even say we buy what? Walton, Bukit Timah, just buy a landed property. Let's say Dunbar Walk. Let's say Frankel Avenue, east side of Singapore,
Yeah.
District 15. Can you buy a landed 30 years ago for 500,000? Can.
Yeah.
Easy, Easy.
Yeah,
okay?
definitely.
500,000, 30 years ago, 1995.
Yeah.
Agree?
Yes.
My girl not even born yet, but 30 years. Now how much is this property worth?
5-6 million.
Yeah, maybe 7 or 8 million,
Wow.
right? My friend has a Walton estate, with a Tankaki station outside, Hwa Chong and all that stuff. Now it's worth what? A landed terrace, intermediate terrace, is really worth like 7 to 8 million. Agree?
Easy.
So from 3.6, if you buy condo, 3 to 4 million, then you buy landed, 7 to 8 million. Yeah, people say it must have landed. Okay, I have a landed, right? Okay, so I bought. It has also reason. If 30 years ago, right, Rash, I met you and I asked you to invest in a shop house, Chinatown, Jalan Besar. Wow. When I was IBM Club president, I helped an uncle who passed on with nobody to pay for his coffee and everything. I went to this place called Sego Lane or Sego Road. I went there.
Yep.
The uncle lie on the bench, died there. The feet can still see. That shop house, if that time, I think 500,000 I can buy. 500,000 I can buy. Right, at that time. Guess how much is that shop house now in Chinatown?
Probably 10 million.
20 over million, right?
Wow.
It will be 20 over million. No?
Today, wow.
But hindsight 2020 lah.
Yep.
At that time, you see that shop house, you won't buy lah. It's
Of
like
course,
it
of
can
course.
collapse,
Yeah, hindsight is 2020.
But what I'm trying to tell you this story is that condominium,
Yep.
landed, shop house. Which one give you the highest capital appreciation?
Shop houses was good.
So what I'm trying to tell you, my plan, right? If now I have the money, right? And just now we are talking about big plans.
Yep.
I won't go into like landed property development, which is good, but many years ago, right? I was telling you just now when my son was 03, my brother-in-law is an architect. Tell me, hey brother, buy this odd shit land, 2 million only, If that time we bought, fine. But now land cost, everything is much higher, and then you got land betterment charge and all those things. I would, right? If we were to work together, I would invest in commercial shop houses, whether freehold. Of course, freehold is the best because there's no lease decay. You see, my shop houses in Geylang, everything. I don't worry about lease decay because it's freehold, and the best is buy those conservation one. Conservation shop house. There's only 6,005, 6,007 in Singapore. Zero supply, because what is heritage cannot be recreated. You understand? What is conserved cannot be recreated. You can have government land sales at Lentor, at Bayshore, at Woodlands, all these things. Government can roll up land to develop residential properties, but you can't roll out any this kind of conservation from Jalan Besar to Geylang to Jujet to Chinatown, all that. You cannot. And guess what? When you talk about freehold conservation, 6,000 plus. But if you narrow down to, if you go to URA space, right? You want to learn all these things, please come. I'll teach you what to do, right? We need to know all these things. You look at the dark blue, deep blue, that is fully commercial. That means no ABST, no SST, seller stamp duty. You can just sell. I can flip everything. That one, you narrow down, left only 3,000 plus. So what you're talking about? You're talking about zero supply, but there is increasing demand. And who's buying? The family offices, right? From China, because they used to buy Singapore residential property. They pay 30 to 35% ABSD. They close online, they buy in those days. But now, 65%, you buy a 10 million property, you pay 6.5 million, so it doesn't make sense. So there is a shift in all this wealth from all this high net worth, ultra net worth, and all that, move into what? Move to commercial. So you see Alibaba's wife, Zhang Ling, bought Duxton Road, 4 units for 45 million. I mean, to her, pocket money, peanuts. But, hey, leasehold. Leasehold, and she still buy at 41 million. Can you imagine? So what I'm trying to say is that, and all these foreigners, I mean the foreign high net worth, they know that Singapore, we are a safe haven. Now, Rashmin, I'm very proud to be a Singaporean. I'm very happy to have a Singaporean. We have a stable government. Our government say what they will do, they will deliver. Agree? That is why my Juche, all this make money, because the Thomson East Coast Line committed 2024, delivered in June 2024. Once the line up, the footfall is higher. Now you go Juche, you go Juche over weekend. Cannot find parking, cannot find jam and all that stuff. I used to complain before I bought my property in Juche. My wife, why do you want to come here for breakfast? Why can't we go somewhere else, right? Why must come Juche and can't find parking? Now, when I see jam, when I can't find parking, I celebrate. Wow, Jose already, right? Because my property, So, I will focus on commercial property. That is what I would do. Freehold, and then conservation, right? Because this one, the value will be there.
I see.
Yeah, this is very important.
Listen, I want to ask you a few questions, right? In relative. So again, we're shooting this video 2025, right?
2025, yeah.
2025, today April, right? So tariffs is the big news of the town.
Yeah.
What's your take? Is property affected? What's your outlook with regards to the next 1 year, 2 years? Obviously, this is going to take some time. We heard 125% tariff on China. Maybe Chinese economy is going to be affected and whatever. What is your take?
I want to say this.
Tell me.
I also currently doing research on this topic myself. Right? If anyone tell you they know everything, that's a lie.
Yeah, of course.
Right?
Sure.
And you ask this question, very good. I've been checking with my agency friends, from Propnex, from ERA, Huttons and all. I say, when you guys are doing talks, when is your CEO doing talk on this? Because if today I'm a property agency CEO, whether Propnex, ERA or whatever, I think I need to stand out now and share with the public will be the impact, right, on property investment in Singapore. I'm talking about Singapore, with the Trump tariffs in place. I cannot answer this question, right? I mean, it's a very good question.
Okay.
Maybe when we have our next session, if we do, then we can further deep dive into this. But having said that, I do find that, how do you say, Singapore, our tariffs is what, 10%. Right? Some people say that we are not so affected, right? But I think cannot be, because we are totally exposed to everybody, especially with thing in China. But I do see that with the tariffs and then all the talk about growing recession coming, inflation, all sort of stuff. So that the economy is going to take a hit. The economy is going to take a hit. People will be more conscious. Will be more cautious. Investing into properties and all. So those people who did the launches last month in March and all those things, they did very well. I think they are very blessed. Timing is just right. I don't know, the next few property launch and all, will the appetite be still so vigorous or not? That's a real test. That's a real test. You can see. But having said that, I think Singaporeans, at the end of the day, we are still very, very into investing in our residential condominiums and all. Now, when you talk about commercial, that's where the foreign money will come in, right? So if they feel that Singapore is a safe haven, right, then I think the money will come in, right, because of the impending slowdown. And people are smart. right? When people are nervous, the smart investors, they are greedy,
Yeah.
right?
Yes,
And
for sure.
a lot of people are nervous now. But when people are greedy, right? So the upturn and all, then there are people who will be nervous.
Yeah.
So really, I wish I can answer this question that you asked about the terrace. But it's really very new. A lot of the research needs to be done. I need to attend a lot of talks, everything. So I'm just texting on my, hey, when's your next talk? Whether Zoom or anything, I want to attend. I want to pick the brains of these key
People.
leaders
Yeah.
and all this in property. So I promise once we get some information, I will share with my people. I will
Okay.
share with my people. Is that good? Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay.
I would love to hear as well.
Yes,
right?
yes. It's very important.
So for now, a bit unclear. But
It's very unclear. I mean, look, Trump just announced yesterday, what, 90-day pause, and the market go up. Then something he say again, go down, then the market go down. So we really don't know, right? And it's very worrisome, right? Amazing how they do.
Thanks for sharing, man. I really
No worries.
appreciate it. Appreciate it. So I think one final question to wrap it up, right? So with regards to where Jason gonna be, again, brother, I'm rooting for you to win.
Sure.
One day I would love to see
Yes.
Jason Ng,
Yeah.
billionaire, right? Right? Like now today you come to me 72 million. Maybe in 5 years time 720 million worth of assets. I really want to see that happen for you.
Let me work on my listed company first.
Yeah.
But
So the question?
yeah,
basically is,
if you were to look at my business,
Yeah.
right? Currently, my listed company,
Yeah.
last year November, because when we started, we have a blackout period by the stock exchange, so we can't do anything. Last year November, we announced that we are going big into what we call the premium
Yeah.
senior assisted living.
Ah.
Why? Because Singapore is a
Aging.
aging population.
Yep.
In fact, even if you compare with Malaysia or what, we are aging very fast.
Yep.
And you know what's the scary truth, Rashvin? 1 out of 4 Singaporeans are going to be 65 years old in year 2030, which is 5 years' time. And I, Jason, is the exact
Target group.
statistic. Because I'm 60 now, in 2030, I am going to be 65.
Yeah.
Just imagine you sit at a food court, 4 at one table, 1 will be 65.
Yep.
You walk into a lift, 4 person, maybe 1 will be 65.
Massive
I mean, this is a
opportunity.
very sober message,
Yeah.
So, we see ourselves moving very strongly in this area. Why? Because, number one, and this is all announced, that's why I'm sharing public announced information. Because we see that the government is very concerned too, that our senior citizen, if they are living alone, it's a very serious social issue.
Yep.
Why? Because if they are not like myself or yourself, we are extrovert, right? I tell myself I'm 65, I'm still out there, running our company and everything. But some are introvert, then they stay at home. They are isolated. Isolation leads to depression. And that's going to be a big social problem, right? Emotionally. The other thing is that you have a fall. When children fall, you have children, right? You see, they fall, get up, they run. Old people, they fall, what's going to happen? They break a thigh bone, they break a pelvic bone. It's going to be a huge issue. So that's why I'm happy that I'm in this good business. Why good? Good in a way that I'm doing good. Okay? I don't pretend I'm doing this for the love of God. Right? I'm doing this as a profitable, as a good business to help people. I tell the children who send their parents to us, I say you make a smart choice, but I'm helping you to extend the life of your parent. Because anything happen to them, my friend, you got a bigger problem on hand. You understand? So spend this money, let me have the caregiver, do grocery for them, cook for them, bring them out, see doctor, feed them medicine, blah, 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 and they have communal living, they're happy, right? Now, the other one is a good business. It's profitable. It's profitable, and we're going to expand very, very strongly. So that's one area that I will do. Second area, we will definitely increase our property management, which I have about now close to 80 over projects on co-living and co-working. So this is another good area. Co-living is another topic altogether, which I think if we do have a second session, I'll be very happy to share with the crowd. Because some people say, hey, co-living, legal or not? Hello, I'm a listed company. I'm 60 years old. I don't want to do illegal business. I don't want the police to come to my house at 2 a.m. in the morning, say that my tenants step each other, then I illegally use my place. I don't want to do that. I want to do something that I can sleep tight and I know it's proper, right? People who think that it's only, keep on saying that, this one illegal lah, you sure or not? These are lazy people. I'm sorry, Rashbin. Lazy people will always justify not doing something. Agree?
Yes, of course.
They will want to be at that comfort zone. They will justify why they are not doing this. Because not legal. I never read. HDB publish and catch those people who do co-living. Hello, that's HDB. Did I say HDB can do co-living? Cannot. Co-living only private property, landed property, shop house. You can. HDB, you go in partition, you definitely appear in newspaper, right? So these are lazy people who refuse to go and upgrade themselves. They want to stay at home and do nothing. Agree? That's lazy people. Lazy people will not know that, hey, people are traveling for revenge. You know what's my biggest market for co-living? Airline crew. Why? Because they come to Singapore for training. Lazy people will not do this. Another word, students. Why? Lazy people don't know that our NUS is number 8 in the world. Top notch. World, not Asia. When NUS launched a postgraduate program for 1 year, demand outstrips supply. When these people come to study in Singapore for 1 year, what do they need? They need housing, right? They need to rent a place, right? They don't want to rent the two big apartment for 4,000 plus. They rent from us as a co-living for 1 year. See, lazy people don't know all these things. Myself, my team and I, we roll up sleeves, we go out, we know the market. Still possible. Yes, you're right. Just now before we started this, rental has come down compared to the COVID time. Because COVID time, people stuck in Singapore. Cannot go back home. Landlord, co-living operators that are set up, we charge good prices. Now, market drop. But try telling those landlords that has places from Tiong Bahru all the way to Jurong Point. Try telling the landlord to reduce their rental. Because they know they are sitting on good areas for co-living. Right, this whole belt. You got the NUS, you got the NTU, you got the One North, you got the Science Park, you got this and that, International Business Park and all. Try telling the landlord to reduce their rental. So, what I'm trying to say is that we got to go out and take action. The learning is in the doing. And if you have lazy friends, I don't know how many of you, I'm staring at the camera now, how many of you have lazy friends? Sure if you have lazy friends, you know my advice? Change your friends. Agree, Rash?
Sure.
You don't believe after today's, what I've shared with Rashbin, later you go for lunch, hey, you know that guy, Rashbin and all, they talk about property. You sure or not? Cannot one lah, illegal lah, interest rates lah, you got a madman Donald Trump lah, I think cannot invest in property. You don't invest in property, you justify, lay blame, complain, you don't do anything. There are people who use this crisis as opportunity. Correct? There's a Chinese saying, 危机转机 means a crisis, but it's opportunity. So it's really up to yourself. Then you gotta ask yourself, do I have enough cash hot? Cash. Opportunity everywhere. My next 5 years, any opportunity will take.
Of course.
That's why I have a listed company, so that I have a platform to tap onto bigger market, tap onto bigger opportunities.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Great, awesome, fantastic. Jason, thank you very much for sharing. I really appreciate you. How can people find out more information if you want to belong in community and your stuff like that? How can they find out a bit more about you?
I think in this podcast, right, you have a link below.
Okay.
Right, you have a link below. Resh and I will be organizing events together.
Yep.
So if you like to attend our one day, we have a 1 day workshop from morning until afternoon, 10 to 4. Lunch is provided because we don't want you to go around, stuff yourself, get sleepy. We provide lunch. During lunch, we continue our training. It's going to be a lot of information, a lot of nuggets of information we'll teach you. And I promise you, right, we will give you, we'll do anything in our knowledge, our effort to help you to learn. So there's a link, right, below this podcast, below this video, everything. You click on the link, you will be directed to a link where you just have to give your name, your email, number, and then you attend our 1 day workshop where we train you on, where we share with you how to invest in commercial, industrial property, and also co-living and co-working.
Yes, honestly speaking, it's the most valuable $7 I spent in my life. so again, if you all want to go and attend this class, I think I highly recommend it. There's so much of the wealth of wisdom he's accumulated over 20 over years of experience in investing, right? So I highly recommend you actually check it out. Also do follow me on his socials as well. The links are all on the description below, right? So again, I hope to see you all there very soon. Again, Jason, thank you very much for coming. Guys, if you all have enjoyed this video, make sure you all like, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you all on our next episode. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Rashvin. Thank you.
Hey guys, I'm so blessed to be able to share these inspiring stories of remarkable people with you. Please support us by liking, commenting, and subscribing to our YouTube channel, right? These likes will help us know what videos you want to watch more of. So again, thank you and see you in another video.